Great day, Seawolves. I hope you had an amazing week so far. My name is Andrew Candio, and welcome to the Stony Brook Media Group News Show. It's been over a week since Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. Since her death, a lot has taken place. For more on details on what has transpired, I'll pass over to Sydney Riddle and Justin Mitzelmaker.
Thanks, Andrew. The royal family has been seen greeting mourners outside their estates since the death of their beloved monarch. Queen Elizabeth II passed on September 8th in Balmoral Castle. Since then, the well-choreographed Operation London Bridge has been well underway. The UK has gone into a 12-day mourning period, and the events within this time have been planned for well over a decade. On Sunday, the Queen's coffin had a motorcade with her as she traveled to Edinburgh. A memorial service for the Queen was held on Monday, September 12th at St. Giles Cathedral. Princess Anne then flew on the same flight as her mother's casket to London, where King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla met them on Tuesday evening. The following day, the official procession began as the entire royal family stood behind Her Majesty's coffin as they walked throughout central London. Once she arrived at Westminster Hall, the Archbishop of Canterbury conducted a public service. When Prince William was greeting mourners outside Sandringham, he said that walking behind his late grandmother gave him tough memories of his own mother's funeral. Many have already got in line to pay their respects to the monarch, some even saying they're willing to wait days to do so. The queue to Westminster Hall is reportedly over 5 miles long, and the line is even close to the Tower Bridge. Queen Elizabeth II will lay in state at Westminster Hall until her funeral at Westminster Abbey on Monday, September 19th. Isn't that right, Justin?
That's right, Sydney. Leaders from around the world are trickling into the United Kingdom for the funeral of the century. All eyes will be on Westminster Abbey Monday for the final goodbye to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Monday has already been declared an official bank holiday, with the London stock market shutting and the government expecting thousands to close shop for the day. But with British law, the government does not guarantee the day off for bank holidays, and the decision to come to work is ultimately left between the employer and employee. Yet online fury is growing after emerging reports of surgeries being canceled and a hotel vacating guests to commemorate the day, with many questioning if royal ritual should interfere with daily routine. While some disapprove, thousands are still packing over a day's worth of water and food to brave the miles-long queue that's wrapped around London to get a glimpse at the Queen's coffin. The monarch has been lying in state in Westminster Hall since Wednesday. The royal family will pay vigil, with foreign and British dignitaries expected to visit throughout the weekend. Monday morning, however, the coffin's public viewing will end, with the monarch transported across the road from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey to begin services. The state funeral begins at 11 a.m. in the UK, 6 a.m. on the East Coast, and will be broadcast on the BBC, CNN, and more, the first ever televised funeral service of a British monarch. The British Commonwealth that the late Queen sought to uphold has shrunk, but Monday's event will unite leaders from nearly all the nations under the Crown's former rule. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden confirmed their attendance, while former U.S. presidents were reportedly not invited due to spatial concerns. Notably absent will be representatives from Russia and Belarus, who did not receive an invitation due to the ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Following services at noon, the coffin will be transported about 20 miles from Westminster Abbey to Windsor Castle, in what is predicted to be the largest procession in Britain's history. A service and private burial at St. George's Chapel will reunite the Queen with her parents, sister, and late husband, Prince Philip, ending the period of national mourning. Andrew?
Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Chinese President Xi Jinping for a summit in Uzbekistan on Thursday. The summit was intended to show the strength of the relationship between the two countries. Putin understands that China has questions and concerns about the ongoing war in Ukraine. While President Xi made no public acknowledgement of the conflict, China's support of the war in Ukraine is important for Putin, as the months-long invasion has isolated Russia from its Western allies, such as the United States. The meeting follows a major loss of territory for Russia in the war over the last several days. Next, we have an update on the ongoing water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi. Jane Maltalto has the story.
Residents of Jackson, Mississippi continue to worry about the safety of their water, even though the boil water advisory in the state's capital was lifted this past Thursday after almost 7 weeks. About 150,000 residents were left without safe drinking water due to the severe drop in water pressure when key pumps couldn't keep up with the influx from flooding. Jackson, Mississippi is over 80% black. This is one of many instances where minority communities are unequally affected by environmental issues. We spoke to environmental injustice advocate Daiwan Tacho to hear his thoughts on the recurring problem.
I don't think environmental injustice is a new thing, right? I think that social media platforms like Twitter has allowed for the amplification of those stories. When we start having a conversation around harm, right, we find that air quality issues, water quality issues, land contamination issues outweigh by far and impact many, many more people than shoplifting.
Tacho specifically expressed his concern over budget inequities.
Well, if we look at Jackson, Mississippi, right? It is a black city, 180,000 people that spends 30%, almost 30%, 28% of its city budget on police.
Content creator and activist Jordan Simone has been using her platform of over 347,000 followers on TikTok to spread awareness about injustice in many areas.
I did some research over time and realized that like a lot of the drinking water in a lot of like heavily Black populated areas is not the same quality as, let's say, more white populated areas of both, you know, within cities, within states, within whole the communities.
She is passionate about educating others on resources to make a lasting impact in Jackson and beyond.
When I know more, I can literally go out and do more. And so a lot of it, I think, needs to be like, first, you got to know about it, but then you can take it to your own communities and support your own communities. Like, it's not always about pressuring, you know, the president or pressuring your senators. I mean, do that. Always important. But like a lot of it's like, contact your mayor. What about your local government? How can you draw attention to things in that regard? And because we live in a digital age, how can we stand up for each other and how can we work together with each other? About Jackson, like it's important to know about it, but like if you can donate money for water bottles, if you can get people connected to resources for clean water, if you know a guy who knows the guy who knows how to, like, you know, water filtration systems, like what can we do to support communities in the immediate sense, and how can we mobilize as larger communities to get, you know, the powers that be, I guess, to actually do something as opposed to putting a Band-Aid on it? Like, where can we apply pressure?
From Stony Brook Media Group, I'm Jane Montalto.
Patagonia founder Von Schudon gifted his $3 billion outdoor clothing company to the nonprofit organization Hold Fast Collective. The organization will receive 98% of Patagonian stocks and will use all of the profits to help combat the ongoing climate crisis. Hold Fast Collective expects to receive about $100 million per year. In the 1960s and early 1970s, Patagonia was the largest seller of the rock climbing equipment in America. They began selling clothing in 1972. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you next week. And remember, keep smiling, Seawolves.